So I think they literally dropped the ball.
And at that time, they also had no idea what the playoff schedule was going to be.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So there are some areas where you could still say, well, for God's sakes, and just tell them a week later.
Well, because they played this game before at Target Field.
Yes.
Okay? So the last couple of years it's been played at Target Field, which is fine because the grass there is been there for 10 years, right? They don't cause any problems.
And the Twins never make the playoffs.
Well, they do this year, but we'll not get into that.
Again,
I guess
past.
maybe if we want to, again, you can say it's different grass, obviously different fields, but the North Dakota State University started their season off against Butler at Target Field, and that it wasn't much worse for the wear, actually, honestly, after that game. But again, it's a different field. They aren't having the problems that they are clearly having at Allianz Field.
Yeah, I pointed out on Twitter, I think during the game, or maybe it was the day after, that there are literally soccer players just running, and they're kicking up divots.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just running. You're talking about different cleats for football.
Yeah, it's going to be painful.
That's why I couldn't. And now, maybe, granted, Ethan Finley's form maybe isn't, his goal celebration form isn't as good as some of the other players. But, man, the divots that he took up with his knees were significant.
Yeah, you should be able to run and slide on your knees across grass.
The only hope I can say is that if they tell the football teams, you can't wear cleats, you have to wear slides. That's it.
Oh, that'd be glorious.
That's it. No cleats. Sorry.
Or like indoor turf cleats.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be hilarious.
All right. So let's talk, before we get to break, guys, let's talk about the playoff picture right now.
Yeah.
Because now we're sitting, third place?
We're in third place, point back.
Because they moved. They jumped up for just a few hours. Minnesota actually jumped up into second. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, Seattle, who got a couple late goals. At one point, late, it was looking like their game might end in a tie. But no, they got a couple late goals and then overtook us. So Seattle's sitting in second with 49 points, and Minnesota's right behind in third.
So I think right now it's set up that we would play San Jose.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We would host
Which,
San Jose.
let me tell you, they're the last team on the face of the planet that I want to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because we've had their number, and eventually all things come around.
So the playoff picture right now is we're in third place.
Yeah.
We have a big game coming up this Sunday against Portland. In Portland. And
We've never won there.
And we've got KC, who's pretty much out of the playoffs at this point.
No.
Yeah.
KC's out.
Not.
I mean, they're not out, but they're out.
Yeah.
We got the LAFC at home, which we talked about before you got here, Dave.
So,
we talked about this before you got here. Was the fact that at that game they might not play their A squad, they might play their B squad because
they've already wrapped up the number one seed.
They might have the supporter shield already. They might have everything they need. So they
don't have the. They could have.
They could at that point.
But at this point, they already have the number one seed in the West locked.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
They probably will have supporter shield.
Yeah. So they might not play their.
It's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then we finish out against Seattle. So we have two games, guys.
So you're bookended basically
against Portland and Seattle, who are two playoff teams
on the road, though.
Right now,
in very difficult places to win.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Minnesota has been up and down on the road. Obviously, you get games like LAFC where you think they can go and win anywhere, and why not after a game like that? But then you go to Houston and lose. So it's always tough on the road.
It's going to be a battle the next 4 games.
Well, let me tell you, if we play a 4-3-3 against Portland,
you're going to throw some of this TV?
I may have to shop for a new TV. Because, and I may get arrested for threatening Adrian Heath. Because, my God, I mean, just leave it alone. Play the.
So,
I'll even go with a 5.
Yeah.
Do what we did in LA if you have to, but otherwise just leave it the hell alone.
So, we've kind of laid out the table a little bit, and I know Portland's, currently in 7th at 43 points, our opponent on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Dallas, I think we all agree we're not terribly worried about Dallas, but they're also at 43. Point point is, Dallas is out of the playoffs at 43 points,
Yeah.
whereas Minnesota's sitting in third at 48. So it's still more or less as tight as ever. It's maybe loosened up just a little bit in the last week. But what do we think the odds are now at this point at 4?
Well,
I'd
now 538 has the odds of us going to the playoffs at 98%.
and I agree with that.
And the odds of us getting a home playoff game, I think they had us at 90%.
See, I think that's too high.
I do too.
I do too, because I think 98% for playoffs is too high.
Well,
maybe it is. Maybe it is. But
we shit the bed in the last 4 games.
I mean, the way these games shake out.
Again, all I'm saying is a lot of things have to happen, David, to make it out of playoffs.
And what I look at it is,
So more
as an outsider, I've reveled in Minnesota sports teams knowing how to shit the bed every season.
Yeah.
And so for me, now when I'm a fan of a Minnesota sports team, that's what I immediately go to.
See, without looking at the matchups, the odds of Minnesota being out of the playoffs in, in one game it's impossible.
Yeah.
In two match, we'll call it match weeks, not in 2 games, the odds are it's possible. Because you got Dallas and Portland both at 43, but very unlikely, I would say. In 3 games, it gets to that point where you'd have to worry. So, put it this way: Sporting Kansas City sitting in 9th. The only way they could overtake Minnesota is by winning all 4 of their remaining matches, and Minnesota losing all 4. That's the only way 9th could overtake Minnesota.
And it's almost that with Dallas.
It's almost, although Dallas is sitting in a much better spot at 43 points, but then that would be saying, well, is Dallas going to win out and Minnesota going to lose out? Unlikely. So, the odds of the playoffs, I honestly would put the playoff odds for Minnesota, in that 90%, 85 to 90% range.
Let's talk about
not the home game. The home game, that's still...
Let's talk about points a little bit, guys. There's 4 games coming up. I'd be more than happy with 6 points out of the 4 games.
And that's what we should get.
That's what we should get.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, then we're talking about potential issues with other teams jumping up.
I could see 5.
I think we get 7.
Okay.
I think we'll beat KC. I think we'll beat LA. And I think we'll get a draw against Portland.
And then the one thing, and as long as we're talking about play, I think so. The likely outcome is 5 to 7 points. We'll see how it falls. But the other thing that Minnesota does have going for them when you start talking about positioning is the goal differential, which, thanks to that 3-1 victory against RSL, that helps out because now Minnesota's sitting at 9.
Yep.
But the first tiebreaker is wins.
It is, but everybody's basically at 14.
Exactly.
Everybody in the top 5.
So we lose one game, and all of a sudden somebody else has an extra win than we do.
Yeah. I'm just saying, okay, let's say every team involved in this race wins 2 of the next 4.
I guess
or gets the same number of points.
My thought is this, guys. It's starting to shake out a little bit.
It is a little bit.
But we really won't know for the next probably 2-3, maybe to the last week of where we're going to be.
Well, it would be surprising that if you came into decision day, I think you could say that if Minnesota came into decision day knowing that they had a home playoff locked up, it would be a bit surprising.
And it could happen.
It could happen, but I think I would be a little surprised.
If we win
just because
next
of
week against Portland,
because of the 3-point
it's locked. I have no doubt in my mind it's
right.
locked.
All right.
That's a big if, of course.
So my hopes is for a home playoff game because we're all going to be there, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
The odds,
I'll be there.
I won't be there for sure.
Why wouldn't you be there?
I'm going to be in Vegas. So.
What? For the home playoff game?
If it's October 20th, I will be, yes. And it would be October 20th.
What the hell?
That's inappropriate.
You're fired.
You're fired from the podcast.
Goodbye. I'm going to Vegas. I don't want to be in the home playoff game.
I had so much fun with my last Las Vegas Lights game that I have to go back. So
biggest game in Allianz Field history, and you're going to be in Vegas?
No, obviously there is a chance that won't happen, but still.
I shouldn't say anything because I wanted to go with them to Vegas, but I can't. So,
well, thanks.
So, anywho, let's get on it. We won. Playoffs are a big cluster F. It's a wild, wild west.
Yep.
So let's leave it at that. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some controversy at Allianz Field and with the team in general.
And the league in general.
And the league in general. There's a lot of things to talk about on that.
Yeah.
I do have some. I do have one funny.
Please say zombie.
I don't have no zombies today. I do have a story about a worker in Paris, or actually in France, whose company is responsible for his death because of a weird law out there, and we'll talk about that later on. So we'll see you back here in a couple minutes from Blue Wolf. We're here at Blue Wolf Brewing Company in lovely Brooklyn Park. We are joined now by Zach, Jen, and Corey from TNE.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Everybody here?
Yeah, I'm here too.
They came out to watch this podcast, and the nice thing they're here is because we're going to talk a little bit about some controversy. Jen, we're not doing a who smells good in MLS right now. I mean, I know you thought we were going to do that. Actually, I know you're here because David is wearing a leader.
That's the only reason.
The only reason you came up. But we have some controversy to talk about because
he was wearing Old Spice too, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be caught that.
So, the whole Iron Fist thing, guys, and
Iron Front.
Iron Front, sorry. Iron Fist, I think about Iron Fist as a Marvel character. I'm sorry about that. Iron Front, I'm sorry. Iron Front, Corey, you have kind of the background on how this whole thing started with the Loons and MLS and kind of how who kind of lit the match a little bit on this.
Yeah, I know a little bit about this. So
give us a rundown.
So the symbol's been flown in various West Coast cities over the past few years. Portland, Seattle. We'll just go with Portland, Seattle. And starting this season, MLS made a change to their code of conduct rules, which eliminated political signage from stadiums, which obviously included the Iron Front symbol.
And we should note that there's no definition to political.
Correct. So all it says is political. There's no definition of the word political.
So it's really loose. You could make an argument something is or isn't political fairly easily, I would say.
It's very much political at their discretion.
Okay.
Is the best way of putting it.
Okay.
Correct. Right. So they put this in place. There was meetings between supporters and front offices throughout MLS. Still no definition of political. Fast forward a little bit. It got pushed pretty heavily out in the West Coast. And then starting with the Pachuca match and various discussions between various supporters and various groups, we decided to exercise our freedom of speech. I'll use that term loosely. And start bringing the Iron Front symbol into Allianz Field. So there were a couple members of a supporters group that went out onto the pitch. Went out onto the pitch tried to go out onto the pitch with the Iron Front symbol on their clothing.
And this was pregame, right?
This was pregame.
So do you mean like jumping onto the field?
No.
Were they on there?
So I'm sure most of your listeners have seen a match or been to a match.
Hopefully.
I really hope so. So before the match, they bring out this giant arch, which the players stand next to, and they bring out flags for the home and opposing team, and then they bring out a giant Scarves Up Minnesota banner.
Mm-hmm.
So the members were holding one of the flags.
Okay.
Went out onto the pitch. Well, let me backtrack just a little. Before they went out onto the pitch, They were asked to cover up or remove the Iron Front symbols. One member did, one member didn't. Went out onto the pitch, and that's where the controversy started.